I never thought I'd be the guy sharing something like this, but here I am. My name's Jason, and I want to tell my story because maybe someone out there needs to hear it. It all started about 6 months ago. My fiancée, Lisa, and I had been together for almost 3 years. We were planning to get married in a few months, and honestly, I thought we had a pretty solid relationship. We had our usual ups and downs, but nothing major, until I got sick. Yeah, I was diagnosed with cancer. It hit me like a freight train and everything changed. I was in and out of treatments, feeling weak and helpless most days. Lisa was supposedly there for me, but I could tell she was stressed out, distant even. Still, I told myself she was just overwhelmed. People deal with illness in different ways, right? But I started noticing little things that didn't sit right. She'd suddenly disappear for hours, saying she was running errands or at the gym, but I'd find her phone light up with texts I didn't recognize. She'd get defensive if I asked her about it, which was weird because we weren't the type to hide stuff. Then she started to get bitchy, snapping at me over nothing, saying I was making her stressed and that I needed to stop obsessing over everything. I was in a fragile state, so I just brushed it off as her being overwhelmed. But the biggest sign was a few weeks ago. I was lying in bed, exhausted after chemo, when I noticed her phone buzzing on the nightstand. She left it unlocked, which was unusual because normally she kept her passwords tight. I wasn't trying to snoop, but I was curious. I just wanted to see if she was okay. So I glanced at the screen and saw a message from Jake that said, "Can't wait to see you tonight, miss you already." My stomach dropped, I froze. Who the hell was Jake? I looked closer and there were a lot more messages. Flirty, intimate, talking about how much they missed each other, plans to meet up. I couldn't believe it. My fiancée, the woman I loved, was cheating on me with my own sister, Emily. Emily, who I'd trusted my whole life. I kept scrolling and saw pictures. They'd been exchanging nude selfies. I felt my world shatter in that moment. I couldn't sleep after that. I felt sick, betrayed, everything I thought I knew about my life crumbling. I kept asking myself how she could do this to me, how Emily could do this. I was angry, hurt, and confused all at once. I wanted to confront her immediately, but I knew I needed to think. I needed to figure out my next move. But deep down, I knew that nothing would be the same after this. My trust was gone, and I wasn't sure if I could ever forgive either of them. That's where I am now, trying to process what I found out, wondering how it could get even worse. Because I have a feeling this isn't the end of the story. After I found those messages, I didn't sleep much that night. I kept staring at the ceiling, trying to process what I'd just seen. I felt numb but also furious. How long had this been going on? Did Emily know about me? Did she ever care? I mean, we weren't perfect, but I never thought she'd do something like this with my fiancée, my future wife. It was like a punch in the gut every time I thought about it. The next morning, I couldn't keep it in. I knew I had to confront Lisa. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay, not anymore. So I waited until she came home from her errands, which I now suspected were actually secret meetups. When she walked in, I was already sitting on the couch, my phone in my hand, trembling slightly. She looked at me, all fake concern and bitchy smirk, and asked, "What's wrong, Jason? You look terrible." I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I know about Jake. I saw your messages. Don't bother lying because I've never seen you so careless. Those texts, nude selfies, you and Emily, what the hell is going on?" She froze for a second, then threw her head back and laughed like I'd just told a joke. "Oh, please," she snapped. "You're crazy. That's just some guy messing around. I don't even know Jake that well." I shook my head. "Don't lie to me. I saw the messages. I saw the photos. And I know you've been seeing him behind my back. How long has this been going on? How could you do this to me?" To Emily, she rolled her eyes hard enough to make me want to scream. "You don't know what you're talking about. You're sick, Jason. You're always so damn paranoid, especially now. Maybe this is just your way of coping with your cancer, you're imagining things. Or maybe you're just jealous because I've been stressed out and I needed some comfort. Yeah, I saw Jake a few times, but it's not what you think. It's not serious." At that moment, I felt my blood boil. How could she lie so effortlessly? She looked me right in the eyes and played the victim like I was the crazy one. I was furious. I told her I was done with her bullshit, that I knew exactly what she was doing and I was done being played for a fool. She just kept denying, putting on that fake innocent face, telling me I was overreacting, that I was imagining things, that I didn't understand her pain. That's when I finally snapped. I told her I'd had enough. I told her I was going to find out the truth once and for all. I said I'd look into her phone, her emails, whatever it took. And I told her if she thought she could lie her way out of this, she was dead wrong. Her face got even bitchier and she spat at me. Go ahead, but you're just insecure. I don't owe you any explanations. It's none of your business. That was a turning point. The more she lied, the angrier I got. I could feel the rage bubbling inside me. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about respect, trust, the fact that she had so easily thrown everything away for some meaningless sex with my sister. The betrayal ran deep, and I knew I couldn't just pretend it didn't happen. I decided I'd confront Emily too, see how far this mess went. The emotional toll was overwhelming. I felt betrayed, humiliated, hurt, like my entire world was crumbling. But part of me also felt a strange clarity. I'd been naive, believing in her, believing in us. But now I was starting to realize that some wounds cut too deep to heal easily. I didn't want to be the guy who got played like this, not anymore. I wanted answers, I wanted justice, and I was starting to think about what would come next, whether I would stay or walk away. The truth was, I didn't know if I could ever forgive her or Emily, but I knew I had to take control of this chaos before it swallowed me whole. Over the next few days, I was a mess. I couldn't focus, couldn't sleep, and I kept replaying that moment in my head, her denial, her fake tears, her angry deflections. Every time I closed my eyes, those messages came back to haunt me. That sick feeling of betrayal didn't go away, and honestly, it only got worse. I started to obsess over every detail, every text, every missed call, every sneaky moment she might have had with Jake or Emily. One night I finally decided I had to do something concrete. I couldn't just sit around waiting for more lies or hoping she'd come clean. I had to see for myself. So I grabbed my phone and started digging. I'd heard about hidden folders, backup apps, all that tech stuff. I wasn't some master hacker, but I knew enough to get into her hidden messages. And sure enough, I found a whole hidden folder labeled Jake and Emily that she'd never intended for me to see. When I opened it, my stomach clenched hard. There were screenshots, text, even pictures she'd never shown me, intimate, explicit, and clearly meant for Jake. She'd been hiding this for a long time. I saw the times she'd met him secretly, the sneaky texts during the day, even some late-night calls. And there were messages from Emily too, sending her love notes, saying how much she missed her. I don't know how I didn't throw up right then and there, but I kept going. I needed answers. That night I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. All the hope I'd clung to, all the trust I'd given her was gone. I was furious, hurt, and pretty damn devastated. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so stupid, thinking I had a future with her. I started to question everything. Did she love me at all? Was I just some guy she was using as a safety net while she fucked around? And Emily, I'd always thought she was my sister, my family. Now I saw her for what she really was, just another selfish, conniving woman who'd betrayed me. The worst part was realizing this wasn't just about cheating. It was about manipulation, lies, and a complete lack of respect. I felt like a fool. I'd been sick, vulnerable, trying to hold everything together, and all the while she'd been sneaking around with my sister. I felt so betrayed I couldn't even cry anymore. I was just empty. The thing is, I thought I knew who she was. Turns out I didn't know her at all. She was hiding a whole different person, someone cold, calculating, and willing to throw away everything for some stupid sex and some secret thrill. That night I sat on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. I didn't feel anger anymore, at least not in the usual sense. It was more like a numb, hollow feeling. I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I had to decide what to do. The truth was, I wanted to confront her again, but this time with hard evidence. She could deny all she wanted, but I had proof now. I knew her secrets, and that's when I realized I had more power than I thought. I could blow this whole thing up if I wanted to. Or I could walk away and leave her to deal with her own mess. The emotional roller coaster was exhausting. I felt betrayed, angry, sad, confused, the kind of pain that seeps into your bones. I kept asking myself how I'd let it get this far, how I'd trusted her so completely only to be betrayed so cruelly. And the worst part, I knew this was only the beginning. The revelations were just piling up and I wasn't sure how I was going to come out of this intact. But I did know one thing for sure, I couldn't stay silent. Not anymore. If I was going to do something, I had to do it now. The truth was staring me in the face, and I was starting to realize that the only way forward was to face her head-on, no matter how ugly it got. The confrontation I had planned for days finally came. I couldn't hold it in anymore. My mind was racing, part rage, part heartbreak, part pure adrenaline. I called her into the living room, her usual smirk already creeping onto her face like she thought she was untouchable. She threw me a look, all fake concern and impatience, asking what I wanted. I took a deep breath and laid out. Everything showed her: the folder, played the messages, the photos, the times I'd caught her sneaking around. Her face twisted into a mixture of anger and denial. "You're delusional," she spat. "You're crazy if you think I'd do something like that. You're just jealous, you're sick. Maybe it's your cancer messing with your mind." I stared at her, cold. "No, Lisa, you're the one who's sick. You've been lying to me this whole time. You cheated on me right in front of my face, and with my sister, no less. How could you do this? How could Emily do this? Did you even think about what it would do to me?" She started crying, fake tears streaming down her face, trying to act innocent. "Jason, stop, you're overreacting. I love you. I was stressed, I was overwhelmed. Jake is just some guy. I don't know what you're trying to make of it. It's not what you think. We're just friends, okay? It's not a big deal. You're just paranoid." I cut her off, voice trembling but firm. "No, it's a big deal. It's the biggest betrayal I've ever experienced. I trusted you. I told you everything about my cancer, my fears, my hopes, and you repaid that by lying, cheating, and hiding your affair with my sister, my own flesh and blood. How could you? How could Emily do this to me?" She looked genuinely pissed now, angry that I wasn't buying her bullshit. "You don't understand. You're sick, your mind's not right. You're accusing me of stuff I didn't do because you're insecure. I've been trying to support you, but all you do is accuse me. I don't have to take this." That was the moment I knew I had to make a decision. I told her I'd had enough of her lies, that I was done playing her game, that I was going to get some space, figure things out. I told her I'd be looking into everything, her phone, her emails, whatever it took, and that I'd be talking to Emily. I wanted the truth from her, face to face. Her eyes flashed with fury when I said that, but I didn't care anymore. I was done pretending she cared. After she stormed out of the room, I felt a strange mixture of relief and dread. Relief because I finally had proof, and I wasn't going to let her keep lying. Dread because I knew this was just the beginning. The real fallout was yet to come. I was angry at myself for not noticing sooner, for trusting her so blindly. But I was also starting to accept that my world was permanently changed. No matter what happened next, I couldn't go back to the way things were. That night, I sat alone in the dark, staring at my phone, ready to take action. I knew I had to confront Emily too. I needed her to face what she'd done, betraying her brother, her family, for some fleeting sex and a secret affair. I didn't know how I was going to handle that, but I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. The lies and betrayals had gone on too long. Whatever came next, I was ready to face it. I just wanted the truth to come out. No more hiding, no more games. I owed myself that much, at least. The next few days were a whirlwind. I couldn't focus at work, I couldn't eat, and sleep was a distant memory. I kept replaying everything in my head: her lies, her fake tears, the hidden folder, the pictures. Honestly, I felt like I was losing my mind, but I knew I had to act. I couldn't let her keep stringing me along or pretending none of it mattered. I decided to get into Emily's phone. I knew it was risky, but I needed to see if she knew about Lisa's affair or if she was just as complicit. I waited until late at night when everyone was asleep and quietly took her phone from the living room. I knew her passcode, something she never changed, and I logged in. My heart was pounding as I scrolled through her messages. Turns out Emily knew everything. She'd been texting Lisa, encouraging her, saying she missed her, even planning more secret meetups. There were messages where Emily called me a weak, sick loser and told Lisa I probably wouldn't survive my treatment, so she should just have her fun. I couldn't believe what I was reading. My own sister, my family, was actively betraying me behind my back. I felt like my chest was collapsing. I was furious, but it also hurt worse than I thought possible. How could they both do this? How could Emily, who I'd trusted as family, be so cold and selfish? I'd always seen her as my protector, my confidant. Now I saw her as just another player in this sick game. I felt so betrayed, so humiliated. I was furious at her, yes, but also devastated that I'd let myself believe in a family that was so broken. Having this proof in hand, I knew I couldn't keep silent anymore. I had to confront Emily. The next morning, I arranged to meet her at a coffee shop, the place we always went when we wanted to talk. I told her I had something important to say and I needed her to be honest. She looked surprised but agreed. When she sat across from me, I laid the phone on the table and pushed it towards her. "Emily, I know everything," I said. "Your messages, Lisa's affair, the secret meetups, you knew about this, didn't you?" Her face went pale. She looked at the phone, then back at me, trying to deny it. "Jason, I don't know what you're talking about. I swear I didn't mean for any of this to happen. It just happened." I was stressed and Lisa was there and everything just spiraled out of control. I cut her off, voice cold. "Do lie to me, Emily. I saw the messages. You knew she was cheating on me and you encouraged her. You betrayed your family, your brother, for some stupid sex with my fiancé. How could you do this? How could you be so selfish?" She looked like she was about to cry, but her eyes were filled with anger. "You have no idea what was going on. I was just trying to find some happiness, some validation. You were never really there for me, Jason. I felt abandoned. Lisa, been my best friend, and I thought I was helping her cope. I didn't mean for it to get this far." That was the moment I realized I'd hit a wall. I had the truth, but I also knew it was going to destroy everything. My relationship, my family, maybe even myself. I looked at her and saw a woman who was broken just like me, but in her own selfish way. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. My mind raced. Should I forgive her? Should I punish her? I didn't have the answer, but I knew one thing: I couldn't stay silent anymore. I told her I needed space, time to think, to figure out what I wanted. I told her I'd be leaving for a while. I knew I had to get away, clear my head. I was hurt, furious, and more disappointed than I had ever been in my life. My understanding of family, love, and trust had been completely shattered. As I walked away from that coffee shop, I felt the weight of everything crashing down on me. I didn't know what the future held, but I was certain of one thing: nothing would ever be the same again. The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever faced. I packed a bag, left my house, and stayed at a friend's place just to get some distance from the wreckage. I couldn't stand being near Lisa or Emily anymore. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw their faces, their lies, the betrayal. My trust was completely broken, and I felt like I'd lost a part of myself. I kept asking whether I should confront them again, whether I should try to salvage what was left, but deep down, I knew that was impossible. In the quiet moments, I reflected on everything that had happened. I realized that I'd been naive, thinking love and family meant always trusting blindly. I had let my guard down, especially during my illness, thinking Lisa was my rock. Instead, she was hiding a secret that tore us apart. Emily's betrayal was even harder to process. I never thought she'd be capable of betraying me this way. I always considered her my confidant, my sister in spirit. Now I saw her as just another selfish woman willing to do whatever it took to satisfy her own desires. The emotional pain was overwhelming. I felt anger, so much anger burning in my chest. But beneath that, there was also profound sadness. Sadness for the future I'd imagined, for the family I thought we had. The one I thought I knew. I knew I couldn't stay in that state forever, though. I had to move forward, even if it meant starting over from scratch. I decided to cut contact with both Lisa and Emily. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed to protect what little peace I could find after such a devastating blow. I found a new apartment, started therapy, and focused on healing myself. It was easy. Every day was a battle against the pain and the memories. But slowly I began to rebuild my sense of self. I learned to lean into support from friends, to accept that sometimes love and family aren't enough to keep people from betraying you. Most importantly, I learned that I deserved honesty and respect, things I hadn't gotten from Lisa or Emily. Looking back, I realized that betrayal, as painful as it was, taught me some hard but necessary lessons. That trusting blindly can leave you vulnerable. that sometimes the people you love the most can turn out to be the ones who hurt you the deepest, and that no matter how shattered you feel, you can find a way to pick up the pieces and move on. I don't hold anger anymore, just a firm resolve to never let myself be so blind again. I hope sharing this helps someone out there. Trust is fragile and betrayal cuts deep. But in the end, no matter how bad it hurts, you find your strength again. You rebuild your life, brick by brick. And someday the pain turns into distant memories. You learn to live with it, but you never forget what it taught you.